Okay, everyone, what I want to do now is I want to wait before we do the next step, before we add paragraphs. Let's see if we have any errors on our web page. And let me just pretend I made an error. Okay? So let's say on line 18, I accidentally forgot to close the header 2, and instead I ended up inadvertently opening another header 2, thinking I had closed it. And then let's also say I saw H1, but I thought it was an L. Okay? Let's just say that for argument's sake, because I've seen students do this before. First thing, on Notepad++, if your tag is black and not blue, that means it's not a recognizable tag. So the first indication I have a problem on line 13 is the fact that my tags are not blue in color. Okay? The next thing I see here is if I click on the header 2 on line 18, nothing gets highlighted. I click on this header 2, nothing gets highlighted. So even without running your page to the validator, there are hints and clues on your page that indicate there's a problem. Okay, now let's just say I did that and I didn't know any better because this was my first web page I'd ever done in my own history. And I do refresh on here. Notice my biography looks small. And I go, well, that's a problem, but why? And I don't know. Would you all, right now, guys, would you all, on your browser, open up a new little window here, a new tab, and I want you to type Validator. VALIDATOR.w3.org. Okay, this is the validator. There is a link to the validator on the Moodle. There is a link to the validator in the web design class folder. And then once you've visited the validator on your browser, it should indicate validator on the window. Validator.w3.org. Let's just say I don't remember what that is, and I hit validator, and I hit return, and I don't remember where the validator is. Google is going to try to find it for me, and I'm going to see on my first hit on validator, it'll say the W3C Markup Validation Service. That's where I want to go. Validator.w3.org. It's the W3C Markup Validation Service. Looks like this page. Okay. Now, URI is for web pages that are published on the internet. Your pages are not published to the internet. They are not on a server. They're sitting on our own intranet. And because of that, you cannot validate by URI. You have to click Validate by File Upload. So click Validate by File Upload. Then I want you to browse for your file, find it, and then you're going to click the check button and see if you have any errors. Okay, so you have to dig for it. Media, digital media. Okay, so you know how to find all this stuff here. Web design, student folders, period 3, student folder, HTML. All right, you're looking for the My Bio page. Double click it. It'll say M digital media, blah, 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 blah. Then I want you to click check. Now, if your page has a big red bar across the top, that means you have one or more errors, and it tells you how many errors you have. I have 5 errors, even though if you saw what I did, I actually just changed 3 locations. Okay, so what you want to do if you have red and it says errors, you want to look at the validation output. And I apologize, I don't think they're using actual English here. I don't think undefined means what they think it means. All right, but the point is, it will say line 13. And then when it says element whatever, undefined, it'll say you have used the name above in your document, but the document type does not blah, 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 blah. All right, the problem with this tag is it's actually not a header 1, it's an HL tag. So, unfortunately, if you cannot read what this means, all you can really do is know that it's on line 13. So in that case, you go back to Notepad++, and you look at your code, if it lets you. Okay. First thing is, if you are having trouble, you may want to look at my tutorial. You might want to look at the PowerPoint I showed you. You might want to look at the Moodle and see the description. You'll see H1, and so that's the actual tag. I'm going to save my changes. It's blue now, which means Notepad++ recognizes it as an official tag. I go back here, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to revalidate. I'm just going to hit refresh and resend. If you're an IE, it's refresh, retry. And now I see I got rid of one error. I still have 4. And then you're going to see this document type does not allow, blah, 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 blah. You're going to see this different stuff here. And basically, it says it's line 18, and it highlights the tag there. So it's actually right here. Hopefully, by this point, you realize what you did wrong and you forgot to close it. If you don't, look at the other tags and see what looks different between, say, line 16 that doesn't have an error and line 18 that does have an error. And you'll see 16 was fine, 14 was fine. Why are they okay and mine not? Well, if you look at it, there's a slash. So the validator is not perfect, but it will let you know if you have an error or not, and it tells you line numbers where it probably is. So I fixed one error here, and we're going to revalidate by hitting refresh, reload, and then reset. All right. When you have a green line across the top, that means you have no more errors, and your page is not going to automatically get you a D. Then you got to just make sure you've met all your requirements. So what you're going to need to do in this class is every time you work on a web page, every time you do a major change to it, run it through the validator and see if you have any errors. If you have any errors, try to fix them. If you can't figure out what's wrong with the error, talk to the person next to you, see if they know the answer. Review the material, like the assignment description, and see if it's in there. And then on worst case scenario, nothing is working, come see me, and I'll help you through it. The more you run it through the validator, the more you'll get used to what the errors mean. And believe me, you're going to find that, 1, you'll know what to look for and how to fix it. And 2, after a while, you'll stop making that error because you'll be trained and you'll be able to do it without errors. I run it through the validator. If I see an error, D. I'm going to hit refresh now that I fixed my errors, and you'll see now my biography is now bold. Let's do one more part to this assignment, and that part is working on your paragraphs. On your family background and your hobbies and interests, add 1 to 3 paragraphs. I like to create a paragraph tag. It's P. I like to close that tag before I even enter anything inside of it so I don't forget. And so, of course, my family background, you're going to start by writing a sentence about your family background. I was born a young child. And, of course, I was in Phoenix, Arizona. I spent my first 21 years living in Phoenix or going to college. And then you feel free to add maybe one more sentence and then add another paragraph. Okay. So I'm going to kind of just get you started on this, and I'll let you kind of work on it. My hobbies and interests. Okay. So I love computers, web design, cycling, running, and exploring the cave of the unknown. Whatever. So I'm just going to put a paragraph in each one. But again, remember the scoring guideline is 1 to 3 on any given section. Don't leave a section without a paragraph. Please try to remember to capitalize the first word of a sentence, put a period at the end. Please get out of the habit of texting your assignment content. So use things called words and sentences, please. Just because I said you can have them anywhere between 16 and 40 words a sentence, just because I said only 1 to 3 or 4 sentences per paragraph, does not mean that you're just putting all your texting kind of stuff. So this is an assignment. You are turning it in. So do give it at least your best attempt at grammar, spelling. Okay, add that in. Do the best that you can. I take that into consideration when I'm giving you your score. But when you're done, save your changes and see what it looks like in the browser. We'll hit refresh. And yours will start looking something like that.